WARD dollar sign, nigga. NAYIMED.
Welcome to my channel. My name is Nayim. I am your host. Fuck Rock Nation. Fuck Jay-Z. Rock Nation go crumble. Rock Nation is evil. Jay-Z did it. Blame Jay-Z. All this other shit, right? You know, there's one person that people never ever mention when they go to blaming Jay-Z, and that is Juan Perez. And who the fuck is Juan Perez? Juan Perez is the wife of Desiree Perez. And I'm going to tell you why the name Juan Perez is so important, right? So why am I even bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because we always hear about Desiree Perez, and as recently, Tory Lanez's father on camera outside of the courthouse screaming, look up Desiree Perez, Rock Nation is evil, they're a wicked system, fuck Jay-Z, you know, all the cute shit, right? And there's a lot of history there that people don't know anything about, or they just have the, you know, expedited Cliff Notes version of the story that Desiree Perez she got caught helping smuggle bricks, but she turned on them a war wire and turned the whole operation over, and she was a part of that operation. Well, there's a whole lot of shit that people don't really know about what happened with that situation. Maybe I won't say it's a lot of stuff they don't know. I'll say that it's a lot of details that get dismissed and a lot of holes in the story for the public view that nobody really bothered to go past, because the stimulus and whatever they're saying when they mention Desiree Perez is like that name is an infamous informant's name. So that's all I need to know. Not me, but that's all you would need to know when you hear an infamous informant. It's kind of like saying 6ix9ine and now Gunna. And I'm not going to go through the whole situation. I do want to highlight that because this is about Juan Perez, which is her husband, who is Jay-Z's right-hand man over there at Rock Nation. Yes, Desiree has a job and she's the CEO over there. However, the question is, why do people, and now Tory is just a sacrificial lamb for why I even got to talk about this. Why do people continue to bring up Desiree Perez and Rock Nation as a whole when something bad happens? So if you've been over here since the beginning, or you've been over here a significant amount of time, or you just been here since yesterday and you pay attention, you know that I always tell you about how the regular people in the streets, the street niggas, infiltrated the music business. And it happened way before Gucci, way before Jeezy, way before T.I. They came through and made the shit super mainstream and changed the dynamic where the street people were actually the people who was doing all the rapping and all the performing and shit. But if you know anything about New York music and New York music history, you know all the way back as far as when hip hop first started and everybody was put in the same pot, but especially the crack era. It was nothing for a street nigga to take their money and launder it into an artist, because parties was a thing, flashing and blinging, that was a thing. Like it's still a thing now, but back then, the drug dealers took pride in taking their money and giving it to artists and putting it into different businesses and laundering it through different ventures. It wasn't ever just, oh, we just street niggas or whatever. These niggas actually hung out with the actual rappers. The rappers wasn't the gangsters. The rappers wasn't, like, rappers used to be rappers. And what the fuck does this have to do with Tory Lanez and why people are bringing up Rock Nation? Tory Lanez is a sacrificial lamb. This has to do with Rock Nation because Juan Perez, Desiree Perez's husband, not only was he a part of that drug bust that she wore the wire for and told everybody about, he had direct connections. He was a drug connect up there, in like a big one, not like no penny any ass little bitty ass nigga. He was a very big drug connection. He was the connect. He was the plug up there in Harlem and Brooklyn and all of them motherfucking places. He has direct ties to Rich Porter and Alpo. That's why people act like they scared to say this nigga name, or they scared to talk about what he did. And when you go through and you actually do enough digging, you can actually find all of this shit out yourself. But now the stories get mixed up of he was actually Alpo Connect. If Alpo had any access to Juan Perez, it would make sense because they was getting shit from Puerto Rico, and you know they spoke Spanish and all of this shit, and they were Spanish niggas. But they say that Juan Perez was Rich Porter's connect. And if you know anything about whatever was going on back then, or you did your studying, Rich Porter and Dame Dash was actually friends. Rockefeller was founded on drug money. Rockefeller was built with the drug money. And what does that have to do with anything? Rockefeller, now Roc Nation, is severely powerful. If you remember, or if you know, Dame Dash said he was hesitant to do business with Jay-Z and shit and Roc Nation and them after, Desiree came out and did whatever she did. That is how all of this shit just mixes in and folds in together. I feel like anybody was going to be a victim of anybody over on the other side, because remember how niggas used to get down, and people still feel this way. It might not be the same type of situation, but if you fuck with somebody from our side, niggas used to really kill you. You can't just come out, or you shouldn't just come out and kill a nigga because they do something you don't like. Niggas don't ever really change their minds and their mindsets about shit. And to be in the fact that Megan Thee Stallion is a cash cow for Roc Nation and a cash cow for the other side, it wouldn't have nobody would have gave a fuck who it was that was against somebody on this side, and then you come out all pompous and all arrogant about what the fuck happened. Because remember, Meg didn't ever want to come out and talk about what the fuck happened. She lied and said, "Oh, I stepped on glass. I ain't want to do shit." We just assuming whatever the facts is the facts is, and whatever the truth is the truth is. But the fact that you was arrogant enough to not only fuck with somebody that we give a fuck about and fuck with somebody that's on this side, but you was arrogant enough to say, "I don't give a fuck that she no jigger." Niggas gonna get you back. Niggas is gonna get back at you about that bullshit that come out your mouth and that bullshit that you say. You're never really gonna get away with whatever you say, especially to niggas who have actual street connections, street mentality, street ties. And we're talking about the old school way of doing shit. Those niggas took a hit when Tory Lanez coming out here talking all that shit, and they just didn't like that. They didn't like the way this nigga was moving, so they might have felt like they needed to move in a different type of way. If you can have, like, it's one thing, and if you think that the government won't use, and I'm just entertaining the conspiracy, but if you thinking that the government doesn't want to use somebody who actually has ties to actual things, you can't possibly live in the United States of America. It's funny because from what I know and how long I've been around and working with people, especially working with street artists, for example, somebody like Young Dolph, when you go to a city, if you're a big rapper and you go to a city, you probably on drugs, you want to smoke, you want to do something, you would probably hit up the party promoter, you would hit up whoever booked you, you would hit up whoever. They more than likely know the people who know how to get you the supply. This is why people like Ray J is able to stay rich, because if you go somewhere, Ray J will be able to get you the drugs you need. There was a point in time where if you came to Memphis and you wanted to smoke, Dolph was the person you could hit up. Like, you probably wouldn't directly hit Dolph up yourself, but Dolph would get in contact with your people. Gucci Mane already came out and said that. Every city has a nigga like this. Every city has a group like this. Every city has people like this. How does this connect to Roc Nation? Because if you think that kind of stuff has stopped, especially now that we've moved into the corporate sector and everything has the capability of being able to make you money, you don't know anything about music business and having boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is always going to matter. It's always going to be relevant, because hand to hand, put it in my hand, contact with people is very important. Especially now that so much shit is calming down. Let's just be real. Tory Lanez did not stand a fucking chance against that machine. Not only do that machine have real, verifiable street ties, not just these streets, but streets everywhere, and streets no matter wherever you go. Roc Nation has the ties, and because they have actual street people who actually respect these people and legendary names, you're hearing songs like Tata and all these other niggas, but they have the legal wherewithal where it's just like a bitch is a real live government informant who, oh, I learned my lesson and all that. You can play cute for the camera, but you really work with the government to bring down a severely large trafficking organization. You think a bitch just drops those skills off when she finished doing her jail time and finished telling on everybody and all? And the fact that you married to a nigga who was a part of the operation, that makes it even more like yeah, we need this for our business. You don't just stop having the skills that you have just because you separate yourself from that group. You take your skills somewhere else. It's like when a police officer kills somebody. A police officer can kill somebody wherever you live at, but they can go get a job at another motherfucking town who will overlook that. She took her skills over there. They took their skills over there and made them a part of corporate America. That's all I'm saying. The nigga didn't stand no chance. But my fucking audio got fucked up. I'ma holler at y'all, man. Appreciate you.
Nayimedward, $, nigga. Nayimed.